I can't check chat when I'm doing this. There's just too many things going
All
on.
right. I was
Thank you.
going to tell you, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
I was teasing you anyway. You can interrupt me if I'm not recording. Because yeah, I have to say all that over again. Okay, so if you're watching this as a video, hello for the first time. And we are working on the second half of Colonial Voices, Hear Them Speak, working on these words. And where we read another piece about the Revolutionary War that will give you some good background knowledge. All right. So what's the matter, Nora? You look like you're going to come undone.
Your video is still off. Is that a problem?
Oh, I can turn it on. My webcam, you mean? Okay. All right. No, not really a problem. I mean, you don't have to see my face. So I'm gonna. Here's the book, though. Okay. But I'm gonna share my document camera so people here and people at home can see it. And I need to switch over my view. So excuse me for a second, please. And pop up here. I hope in a second. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so sharing. All right, hold on because chat's kind of out of control here. Security. All right. Okay, sharing my document camera. I don't know why it zooms in so much so that we only get to see one tiny bit of the screen. Maybe. Okay. Oh, I think my dial is broken. All right, I'll do the best I can here. Sometimes if you make noises at things, they work better. Did you know that? No. They do. All right, here we go. Let me minimize my people so I can see the front of the book. Sorry, people. Okay, so we've got Parliament, Midwife, and Milliner. And which part of the city were we when we stopped? Were we at the baker? Okay. All right, and we read about the baker. So we're moving on. Okay, so we're at the Mistress of the Dame School. That doesn't mean female. There we go. There's our picture. Okay. The kitchen in my schoolroom. When sun is up, the children come to do their lessons. Is my schoolroom, sorry. They join my Charlotte, Paul, and baby Benjamin. Abigail and Daniel bring firewood, part of my pay. Matthew, John, and Hannah have horn books round their necks. I start the day by reading from the Bible. Then we say rhymes to learn the letters A to Z. Paul's face turns red when we all chant, F, fool, the idle fool is whipped at school. Yesterday, he poked Daniel during spelling. I didn't whip him, but I made him wear the whispering sticks all afternoon. Who comes? It's Ethan with news about today. I ask the scholars to repeat the time and place. Back to our books. We read aloud. Abigail knows the words. We clap. My heart sings. A special day. Were it not for those 3 tea ships lurking in the harbor, King George does not give up, but nor do we. So since we're talking about Hart's point of view, what would you think her point of view? Would you think she was a loyalist or a patriot? Patriot? What makes you think so? I agree. What makes you think she's a... Go ahead, Jake. She said King George is on the top, but so do you. Yeah, right. So that shows you that there's a contrast in the two. Excellent thing to catch. The shoemaker. Sorry. Customers crowd my store. Walking wears souls thin. I never want for work. I measure the length of the foot, whittle the wooden last, mark it with my customer's name. 2 pieces of leather make the upper, one for the toe and one for the heel. I punch holes in the top for leather strings or silver buckles. Then cut and stitch the sole. Left or right, I make the same. The wearer switches every day. So what does that tell you about shoes back then?
They didn't know what they were on.
Right. They didn't have left and right shoes. Right. Just like socks. They just had one size or one shape for the shoes. And why do you think the wearer switches every day? Yeah, they switch what foot they wear them on, and then that way they don't get any wear, because eventually leather like shrinks to the form that it's in. So then that way it's not a particular foot that it's.
If we did that now, then that would just be really strange.
If you switch to it from shoes that you're used to, yeah, definitely.
That would be really strange.
Sometimes I pull a throbbing tooth for him who has an aching mouth, an extra charge. So sometimes the cobbler is also if he's pulling a tooth, he's acting as a dentist. The cobbler, the guy that makes shoes, has a tool that he's able to pull your tooth with. The same tool he makes shoes with. Yeah,
Oh, that's disgusting.
I agree. I'm glad I live in modern times. But always I listen as I work. I do not share my views. Don't want to lose customers who differ. But times are changing. This tea tax must not be paid. Okay. So usually he used to not share his views because he didn't want to lose customers. All right, so this is the milliner. I sell the latest fripperies in my shop. Lace, fans, hats, velvet shoes, a scarlet cloak, silk flowers, fabric beaded purses, muffs and mitts. Ladies look to me for fashion in these troubled times. All right, we got the milliner down now. So what's a milliner?
They make clothes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I think maybe Lauren.
Yes.
I can make old look new by dyeing silk from pink to red, or freshen last year's gown by rubbing stains with bread. My ladies ask, this season will the petticoat show, the shoe buckles twinkle with gems, are puffs of lace a nosegay at the waist? What stylish women wear in England or in France? And once the patriots come to their senses, my customers will sip tea in fragile cups while they chitter chatter over shapes of skirts. What did you say? Another meeting at Old South? Somebody needs to mute at home. We're getting a lot of feedback. Just check and see if you're muted. Excellent, thank you. What did you say? Another meeting at Old South about the tiny tax? That tiny tax? I say pay it. Count your blessings. I prefer the king to be a rabble-rousing mob, No meeting for me or any of my kin. We'll be unpacking pretties for the shop.
She's a
Loyalist, right? Loyalist. Give me a piece of proof for loyalist. Go ahead.
She said,
Okay,
hey.
hold. Let somebody else talk. Hold on. You gave the last one. Sorry? I'm sorry. I apologize. Peyton, I'm sorry.
She was talking about like drinking tea and was talking about like paying the taxes or the full tax.
Yeah, and she said it was just a tiny tax. It's just a tiny tax, you patriots. Blah. There were other clues too, though, I bet that you heard. All right, so the basket trader. My ancestors and I were here for many moons before strangers stepped upon our shores. They bring sickness we cannot cure, make promises they do not keep. Ooh, whose point of view is the basket trader? Can you tell yet, or do I need to read on some more? Peyton? Did you know?
No.
That's okay. Jake? Yeah, but what, this time I'm not talking patriot or loyalist. I'm talking, go ahead. Yes, Peyton. Yes. My ancestors and I were here for many moons before strangers stepped upon our shores. They bring sickness we cannot cure, make promises they do not keep. We turn our trails into roads for carriages and carts. Sorry, they, not we. Claim land, plant fields, build cities and towns. They shoot our fowl, catch our fish, stock our hunting grounds, force us to move on. Now they quarrel with each other like warring tribes, and over tea. We will not fight in their battle. It matters not who wins or loses. Our people have already lost. I do not live in town, but come and go to the tavern to help make soap or candles. I barter willow baskets for kettles, needles, and knives. My moccasins walk between two worlds. I pray I will not stumble. Ooh, that's a cool metaphor. My moccasins walk between two worlds, the world of the white man and the world of the Native American. I think you're correct. The tavern keeper. Since my husband died, I am mistress of this place. I cannot let my sorrow show. A gloomy landlady loses custom. I smile and take the traveler up the stairs to see the bed he'll share with strangers. Men would in innkeeping days and tavern keepers, if there was a bed and there were single males, that they would sleep in the same bed and pay a cheaper wage than if they got the room all to themselves. They'd have to pay a lot more. So travelers might share the bed with somebody that they didn't even know. I'm glad that that is no longer a custom. Kingston, will you close your Chromebook, please?
I do not want a stranger in my bed.
I know, that would be uncomfortable. My daughter serves a table where guests gather. They toast the king. Sit, sup, then share their views. They bring the news from whence they've come. The townfolk tarry, read the paper, talk of tea taxes and today. I won't be there. We should be thankful for that English tea, I say. Such a tempest. I check the chicken, stir the soup, taste the turnips, prod the cook, clean the counter, plan the menu. My husband taught me well. Cash is what I take for bed and board. Trust is not the innkeeper's friend.
I think she's alone.
The midwife. Ethan came to fetch me for the coming of new life. I bring tea from sage and chamomile to calm Mistress Church and her sister who paces by the bed. 860 babes have I brought forth without a mishap, though I mourn the ones I've lost. Somebody at home, tell me what a midwife does. I can't see you, so you can just unmute.
Midwives like deliver babies.
Still midwives if you wish to have your children at home and not in a hospital. There are still midwife people that are trained called midwives that will come to your house. The father sits at the Green Dragon plotting with the sons of liberty. The mother moans, it's time. I send the sister for the neighbors to assist me. Holding the mother's hand, say soothing words. The babe tarries just an hour before his head appears. At last the child's come. Matthew, the mother murmurs. I spank his bottom to hear him cry. His cry. He blinks his eyes against the bright new world. A tiny patriot. What will his future be? My heart fills. My eyes spill. We women gather by the bed and offer thanks. My payment, a yard of ribbon and baby pig, does not tell the tale of why I am a midwife. All right, she said a tiny patriot, so she's assuming that the baby will grow up to be a patriot. The barber wig maker. In my shop, I soap and shave the heads and chins of clients. These days, only pirates wear beards. Unlike the blacksmith, my hands keep clean, except that I let blood to cure a fever and place a leech to ease a blackened eye. So barbers were in charge of some medicinal things, just like the cobbler was in charge of pulling teeth. So leeches were used, and actually are still sometimes in modern times. Leeches were used to cure different ailments. Yes, Peyton.
They also use like cobwebs to like bandage. They like stuck out of the.
Right. All kinds of things. Do you know why men at this time and sometimes ladies also wore wigs?
So they don't know.
Think about think about, and it became less common with people in the colonies than it was with people in Great Britain. But think about what might be in your hair that they didn't have a remedy for.
Lice?
Yes. Is that what you were thinking? Yes, lice. And so they would just shave their heads and wear wigs. And that happened since ancient times. Ancient Egyptians would do the same. Men and women would shave their heads and they would wear wigs because there was no way to at that time to get rid of lice. And so everybody would have lice, and there'd be, little creatures crawling around in your hair and biting you and such. Lice do not like wigs because they attach to living hair follicles and they are after blood, like the mosquito. So they're not very fond of wigs. Not that, and you can always take a wig off and put a different wig on. And they powdered them heavily, and that helped keep lice away too. Oh, shoot. Oh, last week the judge stopped to choose his wig. I shaved his head and measured. My journeyman sorted, cleaned, and baked the last of the human hair from London, the best quality to be had. They used real hair, and then they would bake the hair, and that would, to make the wigs, and that would kill anything that was living in it. So you could take off your wig and bake it, and that would kill you can't, like bake your own head. Well, you could, but you wouldn't last very long. And that's what would help kill any bugs in it so that you would have a bug-free head. Holding back on English goods is bad for business. Pay the tea tax and move on. But I'll not share my views today with that rowdy crowd. My journeyman combs hair through the hackle. I weave the strands in rows and stitch them to a cap. No goats or horsehair for this important, sir. A wig's perfumed, then sprinkled well with powder. So if you didn't have enough money to buy real human hair wigs, you would get horsehair or goat hair wigs. The judge returned to have his fitting. I placed the wig just so. I stop, admire. He looks a proper Englishman. Point of view?
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Loyalist.
Okay. All right. The blacksmith's slave. I was seized in Africa, thrown on a ship, shaken, beaten, branded. And when we landed, the captain sold me to the highest bidder. My master is a blacksmith. We make axes, andirons, hinges, hooks, padlocks, pokers, latches, and nails, thousands of nails. I fill the forge, pull the bellows, and stir the coals. The master's old, he needs my muscle. I heat the iron, lift it from the forge. My master strikes and shapes it on the anvil. Men sit in his shop and talk of tea, taxes, liberty, and freedom. Freedom for them, but not for me. I'm a slave. I will always be bound. Oh, I don't know. I don't agree. I think like the Native American
Yeah, I don't think he's
either. I don't think he's either. Because even if
I think
it's
he
freedom
doesn't really care.
for the patriots, it doesn't matter to him because he'll still be a slave.
Now, today,
No, he doesn't even dare to dream about a time like that, though. The clockmaker. I hear time passing in my clock. Tick tock, tick tock. Change is in the air. My pendulums click the seconds on the grandfather clocks of such quality that only fine gentlemen can buy. The limner has painted the moons that rise and slide with each of the with ease as minutes march. Tick tock, tick tock. But some of my clocks, the wag on the walls, have just one hand. They mark the hour for ordinary folk who earn the right to know the time as much as wealthy neighbors. No fancy case to raise the cost, just the face and my well-made works. My weight cords dangle free as we long to be. Here's Ethan. I read the notice and hear the secret about tonight. I fetch a blanket and collect some soot. I'm ready. Change is in the air. The time has come. Someone at home, unmute and tell me, patriot or loyalist.
Patriot. Patriot.
Okay. And somebody here tell me the evidence.
evidence is
Go ahead, Caleb.
fine. Wait for dangle free as we long.
As we long to be. All right, just a few more people. The silversmith's apprentice. When my father died, there was no kin to keep me. I was apprenticed to the silversmith who had no son. The master vowed to feed me, house me, teach me to read and write. He kept his word and shows me the secrets of his trade. Till I turn 21, my labors are his due, but I feel like family. He is a patriot with skills so fine, the loyalists care not. And I support his cause of public liberty. We will not pay when we have no say. Tonight we'll make our mark. Ethan shared the notices and spread the secret to those who need to know. We will be heard. I sweep the shop, heat the crucible to heat the coins, melt the coins, sorry. Watch my master pound his hammers, make silver smooth as silk. Someday I'll be the one to sketch the teapot, etch the picture, turn the handle. My hours are many, my pay is nil, but I learn my craft. I do not curse my fate. I could have been a stable boy who mucks manure. To work with silver is to make shapes that shine. We shut the shop and hurry to Old South. That one was pretty straightforward. Sons of Liberty. My apprentice and I crowd into the back of Old South Meeting House. Thousands of colonists from Boston town and nearby villages fill every seat, stand on the side, linger in the street, wait to hear the fate of the tea. Tonight, our weeks of work will tell the tale. Will the governor grant permission for the tea ships to sail back to England with the cargoes still on board? I think not. In Old South, candles are lit against the darkening day. Sam Adams and Joseph Warren rouse the crowd. Joseph Quincy urges caution. The Dartmouth's owner hurries in at last. His face sags with sorry news. The governor will not agree. The tea must stay. The tax be paid. Nay, roars the crowd, nay. Sam Adams stands up and pounds the gavel. This meeting can do no more to save the country. War whoops sound. Boston Harbor is a teapot tonight, shouts one. Who knows how tea will mingle with salt water, cries another. To Griffin's Wharf, I shout. To the wharf, roars the crowd. Oh, shame. Okay, this one is called More Than an Errand Boy. At last, the secret's out. We stand up to the crown, and I helped make it happen. I run to the blacksmith's shop, streak my face with soot, wrap my blanket like a mohawk. What do they mean by mohawk here? Not like the hairstyle.
Like spiky?
No. The mohawk, the term mohawk that talks about the hair comes from a Native American tribe called Mohawk. And they, male braves, warriors did their hair in that style, shaved both sides of their head and had a very elaborate and long mohawk. So Mohawk is a Native American tribe. Wrap my blanket like a mohawk, dash to the Dartmouth and climb aboard. The rain has stopped. Lanterns light the deck. Thunk, splat. The warriors and I split wooden boxes while the captain and his crew stand by. Thunk, splat. We axe the lids, then spill the tea and heave the heavy chests. The tea leaves float. Thousands watch from the wharf. They wait in silence. On British warships docked nearby, no sailor sounds a warning. The Patriots. We are journeymen, apprentices, merchants who work side by side speaking out for liberty. We board the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, the Beaver, and dump the tea. Though many loyalists disagreed, the deed is done. We clamber down from the decks and shake our shoes. What a cup of tea we made for the fishes, says a Mohawk. We fall in ranks, up through town we march, out of the range of British guns. As we near the State House, our spirits soar, our steps are brisk. We keep time to the fifer's tune. No harm to crews or ships. No paying tax on tea. No bowing to the king. We said nay and held a party, a tea party. What will happen now? All right, and then the last couple pages are kind of cool. And if I'm not going to read them to you now, but it talks about each of the jobs that the errand boy Ethan went through and tells a little bit more about them. And perhaps I'll share a bit from time to time because there's a lot of interesting things in there. All right, let me stop my share. Okay, that is it. That is all you have to do today. Listen to the story. Okay, that is it. Okay, so I am curious though to hear what you think about on the last page. It was very interesting, I think, that they talked about what did he say? No harm to crew or ships, no paying tax on tea, no bowing to the king. So with us talking a lot about violent and nonviolent protests and the right way to make your point heard, and there is no right or wrong answer to this. I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. I'm just asking, do you think that was a correct, do you think that was a viable way to protest, or do you think it was not?
I think it was nonviolent because they didn't hurt anybody or anything. They just threw the tea overboard.
Okay. A viable thing to do? Okay. Anybody think, want to add to that? Go ahead, Jake.
I think that what was appropriate what was happening.
Okay. Okay, so we have everybody so far has spoke out on the appropriate side. So I'm going to say something that might make, I'm not saying this is my opinion. I'm saying this is what how somebody might argue it. All right, it's not violent, but it is,
It could be, like, because somebody could get hit on.
it could have been, yeah, yeah. But it also was destruction of somebody else's property, right?
Yeah.
So you could, and maybe it was the way somebody earned a living. So there's another layer that makes you think. And you can still choose one side or the other, but that's just another argument that might be from the other side. So, yeah, so there are lots of different choices and things that are going on. Like just in today, in the news, there's been a lot of protesting, and some of it has been against property. And so, you know, that's kind of a decision you have to make for yourself, whether the ends fit the means or whether it was indeed something that shouldn't be done. And that's not my decision to make for you. But thank you for listening to the different points of view. And so we've got now with midwife, we've got that one down. Milliner, we've got one that we still don't quite have yet. Nora, what do you want to say about Parliament?
I just feel like it's some sort of like store, like that sells a certain thing. Like that's just
No.
what
I'm gonna absolutely let you know what it is right now. Parliament is the group of, and it would have been men at this time, not women, because women did not have equal rights at this time. Parliament is the group in England that would make the laws for everybody in England and everybody in the colonies. So Parliament would work along with King George III to make all the rules and such that everybody had to follow, and that people in the colonies had to follow as well, since they were colonies of the British Empire. All right. Thank you, Landon and Aiden and Nora and Lauren, for sticking in with me. Is anybody else there? I can't see if anybody else is there. And anybody who watches the video, that's all you are responsible for today, is being a good listener. So I'm going to end now. And anybody at home, I know Landon, I've already revised with you, right? And I have with Lauren and I have with Nora, but I haven't Aiden yet. So Aiden, you and I need to work together. Yeah, I see Phineas and Ferb, one of my favorite cartoons. But I'm going to say goodbye for today. Thank you for joining. And here